Day 17, let's talk about pre-approvals and pre-qualifications. So if you're looking to buy a property in the next 6 months and you're pretty sure you're going to put in the work and the effort required to do it, then you really do want to be thinking about getting a pre-approval, because it helps lock in your understanding of what's required for mortgage application, and it's going to help bring to the surface if there's going to be any issues that might be if they might be hard to see unless you're submitting formal documentation. So if you're really sure the next 6 months you're going to buy a property, then I would recommend that you go through the pre-approval process. It does make sense to get in front of doing the pre-approval documents and the application if you're going to especially work through a mortgage advisor, like in the couple of weeks or even a month or two before you're actually starting to seriously look at properties. And if you are seriously looking at properties, then you really want to get that pre-approval process underway, especially because if you find something that is really popular, then you don't want to be saying that you need a couple of weeks for finance. If you can go unconditional because you got your finance sorted, it does give you an advantage over other people. So how you get a pre-approval, you can go to your existing bank, but if you're working with a mortgage advisor, they can help you identify which banks are the best options for you and which banks are giving the best approvals based on your circumstances. You know, some banks are going to lend you a lot more money than others based on your individual situation, so it's good for you to have an insider like a mortgage advisor showing you which bank is going to be doing that for you. The key thing, I guess, is without having a specific property under contract, they are subject to change. So pre-approval is just a bit of paper. It's going to have conditions. There's going to be things that you need to do to qualify for that finance. It's a strong formal indication that the bank might lend you the money. So there's a lot of what ifs, but it's still it's going to help with any new build products or with agents, and it's going to help your confidence level to feel like you can go out there and start shopping. Now, if you are in a strong financial position or you already bought property before, then you might not necessarily need a pre-approval. Pre-qualification might be perfectly fine, and especially if you're not at least 80% sure that you're going to buy a property in the next 6 months, you probably don't need a pre-approval. What you really need is a pre-qualification of your borrowing power, and a mortgage advisor that's worth their crust is going to be able to tell you what your borrowing power is based on very simple information around income, expenses, age, dependents, cars, things like that. Shouldn't take too long. So pre-approval might take you a couple of weeks to get the information back from the advisor and the banks. Usually we would only need one bank to give you the approval. Pre-qualification, that can happen within a day, if not hours, if the advisor is good at what they're doing. They can give you a very strong indication across different lenders what finance options you've got, and you can start shopping for property with a lot more confidence. Having spreadsheets and having a contact person you can talk to about getting that property under contract and getting the finance arranged when the time is right. Pre-qualification, pre-approval, just remember that without a sale and purchase agreement, there's no guarantees, and any changes in your situation like job, kids, debts, like any major situation with the lender's going to want to know, and that might bring your pre-approval down, might bring it up if you had a pay rise. It's just important to keep disclosing the key information to the banks and the advisors to make sure you're getting accurate information. And if you don't disclose to get accurate approvals, then you probably will get found out eventually. It's going to put a black mark against your name. So what's the cost? Getting pre-qualification, there's no cost for that. It's just the advisor is running some numbers. If you get a pre-approval through your bank, there's no real cost for that. You're kind of giving up the option of seeing which other lenders are going to do, and you might end up getting not as good rates later on or not as good advice. So some mortgage advisors do have pre-approval costs. Now at the time that I'm doing this video, if we do a pre-approval for you and you use it within 6 months, then there's no cost because we're going to get paid by the lender. Generally speaking, what we say to people that want to get pre-approvals is that if you don't use this pre-approval within 6 months, we do have a $250 to $450 administration charge because it's a lot of work for us, and that's just to discourage people from getting pre-approvals unless they're really serious about buying in the next 6 months. So in the past, I know the banks got pretty annoyed about it, as a lot of people were getting pre-approvals even when they were not serious, and especially from multiple lenders. The advisors don't generally submit your application to multiple banks because those banks figure it out pretty quick that if you submit to 4 banks and only 1 bank gets the deal, those banks that didn't get the deal figure it out from, they figure out those advisors real quick and stop working with them. And it's the same if you go all around town going to each different bank yourself trying to get pre-approvals. Those credit checks are going to show up on your report, and you're just wasting a lot of your time when you don't need to. So don't feel like you've got to go to every bank figuring out all of the stuff yourself. Just find a mortgage advisor you trust, get a pre-approval from where you need it, and only get it when you need it. So any questions about pre-approvals or figuring out borrowing power, let us know below.